one. Where did I get both of these problems?
Star.
Last year's star. Okay, so these were like fresh problems over slope from last year. They are star, so expect to see that pretty typically in here. We're gonna pull these star questions so that way we can practice going over them. What was the answer to the first problem? A. A is the correct answer. Okay, how do we know that? Okay, yes.
Because it's up and down, so therefore we know the slope would be undefined.
Exactly. Up and down is what kind of line? Do you remember the little acronym I gave y'all last time? Vertical lines have. Y'all remember doing this?
I remember.
Wow, I feel like we forgot a lot of stuff since last class. Vertical lines have undefined slopes. They cross the x-axis. The equation is x equals, which this kind of was a 2-for-1 problem. They did write the equation there, but you still could have gotten this answer knowing, well, you had to know both of them, knowing that the slope was undefined because it was vertical. Who picked 2 points and did slope formula? Yeah, I saw that on your paper too. Totally fine. What does your calculator say, though, if you were to do that? It said error, because there was a 0 on the bottom, and so that means that it's undefined. So that can at least get you to 50-50, and then you do have to know, is it x equals or y equals, and that's where Hoy Vux will be really helpful for that. And we will keep talking about horizontal and vertical lines. They're kind of our special cases, but like the star loves to put it on there, okay? And so that one was this one. What was answer choice A? What about this question? Your 2 points. What's the slope of the line? C is the correct answer. Okay? They gave you a grid, so you could, but they didn't put the points on there. Did you really need this grid right here? Did you need it to get this problem right? No. But if you preferred to do that, you could plot them on there. You could see, hey, is my line increasing or decreasing? So it might be worthwhile doing. Let's practice. How do you plot -2, -2? Where do you go? We talked about this last time. What?
To the right.
Right 2, or no, left 2 and down 2. And then the other one, go back to the origin. That's kind of your home base. You always start there. 4, 2. +4, +2. Where do you go? Right 4, up 2. And so then you could see there that this line, is it increasing or decreasing? Increasing. So if it's increasing, what does your slope have to be? Positive. So what should you do with answer choice A and D? Cross them out. Okay, so it really might be helpful to put those on there. And again, if you do this on the computer, they have a little tool where you just like click and put your points on, and we'll graph for you. Okay, and then you would label. I do want to work this problem out because there are negatives on here. Last class, we were able to avoid negatives quite a bit because we had lots of choices and points. Do we have choices in what 2 points we use on this problem? No, they just gave us those 2. So I want to review this. If you didn't write this down, please write down with me. What is the slope formula? M equals. Nah. Y2 minus Y1 over X2 minus X1. So I labeled, and here's the thing. I noticed this on that little exit ticket that we did last class. You are not taking your STAR test on paper. You don't get to just write in those little labels on the points on there. You're going to have to be able to transfer the points that they give you to your own paper, label them, and then formula it. Okay? And we did not do so great on that when we did our little exit ticket last class. We're great when it's already on there, but we got to be able to transfer it. And we still have to be consistent with our labels and our formula, just plugging everything in. Okay, remember, in the formula, these 2 signs are minus signs. The labels on the numbers are negative signs, and you have to type them correctly. You're going to have negatives on your test, which is next week. So we got to practice with those. Okay, here we go. M equals, what is our Y2 point?
2.
+2. Minus, what is our Y1 point? -2. Okay, you have to have the minus, you have to have the negative. If it helps you to put that negative in parentheses, do it. If you don't want to put parentheses, don't. But you just have to know that this is a minus and this is a negative. Over X2. It's X2. 4 minus x1, negative 2. Again, if you like parentheses, do it. I like to separate my minus and my negative in parentheses. That's just me. But reminder, this is a minus, the other two are negative. And then we type it in. I'm warning you. You are going to see that on your test. I would probably be willing to put money that the STAR test is going to do it to you as well, because they really got to make sure you understand that formula. So negative 2, 2 minus negative 2, 4 minus negative 2, and then that gives us our 2 over 3. Okay? We're going to keep doing slope between 2 points today, so we're going to keep practicing that. We are, on the second page, going to do a little bit of graphing as well. So we'll get rulers out for you, but let's just look at calendar for the week before we jump into the lesson. Reminder, if you are planning to take retests over Unit 2, that window is Wednesday or Thursday. There's 4 opportunities, okay? And most of you guys, if you're taking anything, I think you're just taking 1, so you should be able to get it done in one of those 4 times. But it is going to be kind of crazy in here because I've got another class that's taking retests too. So you got to be able to come in and say, I'm taking this one, boom, boom, boom. I'm not going to have time to go look it up for you. So you got to know topic 1 or topic 2, okay? If you made below a 70 and you're retesting, I need to see you today or tomorrow in tutorials. If you're just retesting, trying to get like an 85 to a 90, you can come if you want to, or you can just show up and take it. Did you have a question about that?
I was going to say if you can come in today to redo it.
Yeah, you can come in the second half today. Okay? So we're marching on, though. We are learning new things this week. We have an exit ticket today. That's the plan. I need to link that. But today we're learning about another key feature of linear functions, which is X and Y intercepts. So again, this might be a little bit familiar to you, but we might have some new stuff going on. So this is page 7. Just after the warm-up, flip over. We're going to do some vocab. We're going to do some examples, some practice, exit ticket. Okay, so I can't promise that you're going to get all your Delta Math done in class today because we got to spend time doing last class. So we got to start catching up. Okay? All right, here we go. First vocab word is X intercept. Have you heard that vocab word before? Hopefully so. It's where your line crosses the x-axis. Which one is the x-axis? Horizontal. I'm going to draw it right here. And here's something really, really important. I'm going to highlight it after I write it because I say this all the time. The x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. Okay, I think we know that. What is the y value at every point on the x-axis? 0. Okay, you are going to hear me say this probably 100 times in this unit. X-intercepts happen when the y value is 0. Okay, we have to know that. It's kind of opposite. You're finding an x, that's where the y is 0. Okay, there's several names for x-intercepts. Don't ask me why they have to have all these names, but they do. Okay, they are also called zeros, is a name for it, and the STAR test loves that one. Okay, so the question could say, just like it can say, what's the slope? And then 3 questions later, what's the rate of change? They can say, what's the x-intercept? And then 10 questions later, they can say, what's the 0? And it is asking the exact same thing. Okay, so 0, another name is root. And then the last one is solutions. We will talk about, and I'm doing these as plural because with certain functions, there are more than one. With lines, there's only going to be one, but those are all the different names that they can call it. So we will kind of practice all of them. And every time you see one of those different words, we're going to write X-I-N-T, just right above it. So that way it reminds us we know what that is. Okay? And these words will continue to pop up like all year long. Okay? The other one we're going to practice finding are the Y-intercepts. And Y-intercept, there's only one of those. They are where the graph crosses the y-axis, which is the vertical axis, goes up and down. Again, here's what I'm going to highlight. What's the x value of every point on the y-axis? 0. So y-intercepts happen where the x value is 0. That's a big idea. because I'm going to have you writing these as ordered pairs, so you have to put the zeros in the right spot. So honestly, usually where I start, x-intercept, where does my 0 go? Y-intercept, where does my 0 go? Okay? The other names for this are the starting or initial, very good, value. Spelled that wrong, initial. Okay, starting or your initial value. So a lot of times you'll see that more like in context of a story, we'll get to some word problems maybe at the end, where you had the flat fee of whatever amount, and then you start charging per hour. So like you started with that fee there. So those are all kind of vocab words that we'll see here. Let's just do some quick points. How do you write these as ordered pairs? Well, think about where the 0 goes. X-intercepts, those happen when the what is 0. So the second number, remember, X, then Y. The second number I'm going to put a 0 first thing because it's an X-intercept. I'm just going to fill that in. And then what's the actual value of the X-intercept?
4.
So then 4 is going to go in the front. Okay? Y-intercepts. When do Y-intercepts happen?
X is 0.
When X is 0. And then the Y value is 4. Try these two. Okay, just writing as ordered pairs. Seems really easy. Surprisingly, though, it's something people get wrong. Put your zeros in the right place. What's the X-intercept of -1 as an ordered pair? -1, 0. Y-intercept of -1? 0, -1. Okay? So, again, we're looking at how to find all these key features and all the representations. So we're going to do the table and the graph, and those are pretty straightforward. That's just grabbing values, grabbing points. But then we have to talk about how to do it in equations, and that's where we got to use some algebra. This is where like the bulk of the work is going to be, are on these two. Okay, so let's start with the table. Let's start with some that aren't too crazy, and go from there. All right, changed up the vocab for you. Root. What do we know that is? X-intercept. So I'm just going to write that at the top. X-I-N-T. Just so I know what I'm finding. I'm not going to overthink it. What is what's 0 in an X-intercept? Something, comma, 0. Okay? And that's going to help me that I need to know it's when the Y value 0. So now I'm going to go look at my table and I'm going to scan. Where is the Y value 0? -5, right here. So that is my root. Okay? I'm going to draw an arrow up there. So you see how I did that? It's just like a scan. You're just looking at the table, but you've got to know where the 0 is. Okay? All right, the next one, initial value.
Y-intercept.
That's your Y-intercept. Got to practice all these different names. Okay? Y-intercepts happen when the X value is 0. And again, look in your table. Look at your column. Do you see an X value of 0? What Y value goes with it? 1. Everyone see what we did there? Okay? All right, review from last class. Slope it. Find the slope.
Can you use the table and the calculator?
We haven't gone over that yet. I want you to use your slope formula for right now. Okay? Do your labels. Yeah, I would use the roots or the intercepts for these because you already wrote those down. So x1, y1, x2, y2. And zeros are also pretty nice numbers to work with. So again, if you've got your intercepts, I 1000% will go from there. Okay, so slope it, revamp. Scribble those out because apparently math teachers can't math. This was actually not my fault. I want you to calculate the slope using your X and Y intercept. Okay? I want you to redo it. If you got 2 and you use the first 2 points, seems like you are correct. We did not give you an accurate points.
Wait, so use the first two?
No, I want you to use the intercepts. You should be getting 1/5 as your slope. Yeah, then you're good. I think we just didn't give you a very good table.
Messed up on our table.
Messed up on our table.
Because it doesn't matter which one I pick, I should get the same answer.
Every single time.
So there's an issue there. Because some people got 2, some people got 1/5, so therefore, that was a mistake on the paper.
It was our bad. Our bad.
All good.
I think the graph should be good now. Okay, 1/5 was our slope. And again, we're just kind of reviewing the slope over and over again because it is so important. Okay, but new stuff is identifying. Okay? Are we okay with identifying from a table and then calculating the slope for practice? We good?
Yes.
All right. Let's look at the graph. All right? I've actually seen more STAR questions that ask you to identify these vocab words from graphs than I have from tables. But again, they use the different vocab. They will say like a 0 or a root instead of an x-intercept. You've got to know what that word means in order to get the question right. It's not a hard question when they ask for intercepts, but again, you have to follow the vocabulary. So the first one, 0. That is one of our words for the x-intercept. So I'm just going to kind of keep writing that. So that way I'm telling my brain, I would write it down too. You got to tell your brain, hey, these are the same things. They're just synonyms, okay? X-intercept. All right, let's look at our graph. The x-intercept is where we cross the x-axis, okay? Remember your x-axis is this one, horizontal. So go grab that point. What is it? As an ordered pair, -2, 0. I always want you, on your test, I will ask you to write it as an ordered pair 99% of the time, okay? Y-intercept. That's where you cross the y-axis. Very good. As an ordered pair, what'd you say, Braden? 0, 4. Okay, we're going to calculate the slope. Is our slope going to be positive or negative based off of our graph?
Positive.
Positive, because the graph is going up, increasing. Remember slope, dude? You weren't here. You should watch the video. Good old slope, dude. Okay? Use these 2 points that we just wrote down. We shouldn't be getting different answers here because this graph's going to work. But use these 2 points, throw them into the slope formula. Again, this is good practice with the negatives. Okay? 4 minus 0, 0. You got 2? So did I. What, Miles? Okay, grabbing our intercepts from a table and from a graph. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's definitely the easier side of things. We're now going to find intercepts from equations. So look at this little problem with me. The equation is 2x minus 5y equals 20. The reason why it's a little bit harder from an equation is because we have to actually calculate it. Okay, we have to solve for it. Solving is way more steps than just looking at a picture of something, okay? So let's go back to what we know, okay? What is a solution?
The x-intercept.
The x-intercept. So let's go ahead and write that down. When do x-intercepts happen? When the y is 0. That's the answer that I'm looking for. When I say when does an x-intercept happen, I'm looking for you saying when the y is 0. So what we're going to do to solve for this is we're going to look at our equation. 2x minus 5y equals 20. Do you see a y in that equation?
Yep.
Okay, point to it. Point to it on your paper. All right, guess what we're going to put in for our y value when we're looking for our x-intercept? No. 0. There's a 5 in front of it, but we're going to put in a 0. So here's how we do that, okay? 2x is going to stay the exact same minus 5 parentheses. Instead of putting a y, what is the y value going to be at an x-intercept? 0. So put a 0 right there. You're taking out the y completely. No more y. Okay? Do you have this written down?
Yep.
What is 5 times 0?
0.
What is anything times 0?
0.
So this term right here is going to drop out. Okay? And so what is left in the equation?
2x minus
2x equals 20. Are you okay with what we just said? So let's review. We have to know that x-intercepts happen when the y value is 0. So we're going to zero that guy out. He's going to drop. How do we solve this? How do you solve 2x equals 20? Divide by 2. And so what is x equal to? 10. So your solution will be the ordered pair 10, comma, 0. Okay, so here's what makes these problems fun. They're like 2 problems in one. All right, that's how we found the x-intercept. Now what else are we going to find? The initial value, which is the y-intercept. And when do y-intercepts happen? When x equals 0. Okay, I'm going to draw a line here. Give myself some space over here. Okay. Where are we going to put the 0 this time?
2 and then
Not in 2. We're going to put it in.
2,
We're going to put it in for x. 2 parentheses 0. Very good. So 2 times 0 minus 5y equals 20. Ugh, running out of room. What is 2 times 0?
0.
You can drop it out. Now, what's in front of that 5y? Bring it down. It's a minus sign, but that's telling you that that term is negative. And so now we just have this simplified equation. Negative 5y equals 20. Divide by
4.
negative 5. Did you do the negative, Daniel? You shouldn't be getting positive 4. You should be getting negative 4. And so my y-intercept is the point 0, comma, negative 4. Okay, I'm going to skip out on the slope because there's not a lot of space for that. Okay, so again, these turn into fairly easy little equations that you have to solve. But you have to know that, first of all, it's a 2-for-1 problem. Okay, you have your whole process to find the x. You have your whole process to find the y. And you've got to know where the zeros go. So that's why I'm always saying an x-intercept is when y equals 0. A y-intercept is when x equals 0. I'm like telling myself that so that way I know where I plug in the 0 and I know how to solve. Okay? Flip over real quick. We're going to come back to that other problem. But I want you to try this one because these are in the same form. 7x minus 3y. But before you start writing, change that 16 to a 21 so we can have some pretty numbers here. Okay? Because I want you to calculate the intercepts. I want you to plot them on the graph, and then we're going to connect them with a ruler. So we need to have pretty numbers here. Okay? What's the solution? Let's just clear up our vocab. What's the solution?
X-intercept.
X-intercept. What's the initial value?
Y-intercept.
Y-intercept. All right, think about what the 0 is. Where does the 0 go for an x-intercept solution?
With an X. 7x. What, 3?
On the Y. On the Y. Okay, calculate for this problem. And again, it's a 2-for-1 problem. Do you see how I have a line in the middle of my paper? Because like this is my work to find the x-intercept. Here's one thing that kind of helps me. Other than writing where I'm putting the 0, do you see what happens when you get your answers? For the first one, I got x equals 3. Did y'all get that? Yeah. X equals 3. So when I go to write my ordered pair, where am I going to put the 3? What's the 3 equal to? The x value. So it's going to go 3, comma, 0. Okay? All right. For the initial value, a.k.a. the y-intercept, where do y-intercepts happen? So I'm going to replace x with a 0. I'm going to keep everything else the same. My 0 term drops off. I'm left with negative 3y equals 21. How do I solve that? Divide by negative 3. 21 divided by negative 3 is what equals negative 7?
Y.
So when I do my ordered pair, I'm going to put the y value as negative 7, and what's the x value? Okay, so if you get confused, go back to what variable you're solving for. Okay, that should always match up. If you're solving for the y-intercept, you better be getting y equals something. And there's your 2 points. And then I'm going to ask you to do this on the test too. Plot them. 3, 0. How do I get there? How do you get to 3, 0? Tell me.
By moving left.
Positive 3, 0.
You just move 3 on the right.
3 on the right. No up and down. 0, negative 7. Go back to home base. How do you get to this?
0, and then you go left.
Down 7. You go left or right, 0. You
Oh.
don't move on the x. You just go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, barely fit. Okay? And then you will take your 2 points, connect your line. Okay? I'm going to ask you to do that on the test. Find your stuff, put it on a line. Okay? It also, remember, you're finding intercepts. You know the x-intercept has to be somewhere on this axis. Same thing with the y-intercept. It's got to be somewhere on the y-axis. You can kind of go from there. Did you calculate the slope of that?
Is this going to be a positive slope or a negative slope?
Positive.
So if you got a negative answer,
You're wrong.
you may have done something incorrect.
So we got negative 7 minus 0 over 0 minus 3. What's that? No one did it? 7 over 3 what? Positive or negative? It's negative 7 over negative 3, which would be
Positive.
I
positive.
looked out because I forgot to put the symbols, but I got the right answer.
And if you graph the lines,
I forgot to put the negative
you have the
symbols.
positive side.
Oh.
I forgot how both of them saw.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we calculated intercepts from this type of equation. Flip back forward a page and do the other equation real quick. Okay. What do you notice is different about my originals? I'm going to highlight the 2 equations that we just did. So this problem was 2x minus 5y equals 20. This problem is y equals negative 2x plus 4. What's different? Are they the same form? Flip back over, Ethan.
No.
What would you say about x and y on this problem? Are they on the same side of the equals or are they on opposite?
We're the same.
They're on the same side. What about here? Are they on the same or are they on opposite? They're on opposite. Y equals. Okay, so they're a little bit different looking, but guess what? Finding the intercepts is not changing. Okay, you will know these forms like backwards and forwards by the end of this big chunk of linear stuff we're going to do. But for now, we got to practice this real quick. Okay, it's going to be the last problem that I do with you, and then you're going to work the ones on the back. Okay? All right, we still have to plug in our zeros in the right place. Are you with me?
Yep.
What is a zero? Vocab word.
X-intercept.
X-intercept. When do x-intercepts happen?
Y-0.
Y equals 0. Okay? Brayden? You with me? Okay, here we go. Where are we going to put a 0 in for when we're solving for our x-intercept?
Y.
Y. Where is the y in this equation? It's all by itself. So instead of writing y, I'm going to put 0 equals negative 2x plus 4. Okay, and then I got to solve for x. Now this is going to take a little bit more work here. I'm going to draw a line on this one. I'm trying to get x all by itself.
Oh, our dude did
Minus
this
4.
We have done this. We did this a month ago.
Minus
Yes.
4.
Minus 4. Minus 4. What is 0 minus 4? Negative 4 equals negative 2x How do you get x by itself? Divide by -2. So we just had to do 2 steps instead of just 1, but it's okay. We can do it. And so what do we get for x? X equals, it's not 2x. X equals, are y'all dividing the right number?
I got the same thing again and I messed up.
Okay. +2. +2. Because it's a negative divided by a negative. X equals 2.
And is the starting value just 0? 0, 0?
No, the starting value is not 0, 0. Yes. No. Okay. There's a line. Y'all need to take care of your business before class. We have too much important stuff to do. You need to wait. Okay. X equals 2. How do I write that as an ordered pair? 2, 0. And put boxes around your answers because we got writing all over the place. It's kind of driving me crazy. Let's do our y-intercept over here. I'm just going to nix this all together. All right, let's talk about our y-intercept. I think you're going to like this one better. Show you why. So let's work. Starting value is the same thing as the y-intercept. I put it over there on that side. Are y'all okay with that?
Yeah.
Because I'm just over lack of space. Okay? When do y-intercepts happen?
X is 0.
When the x is 0. Okay, so here I go. Here's my equation. My equation says y equals, don't have to change that, -2x. What do I put in for x?
0.
A 0. Plus 4. What is -2 times 0? What is 0 plus 4?
4.
What's your y-intercept? You like that one better, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot faster. It's when you put 0 on the other side, it's not as fun. Okay, so what is your y-intercept? 0, 4. That's AKA your starting value. Okay? Rate of change. What is rate of change? The same thing as slope. All right, I'll let you skip this slope. But you're going to do a couple on the back. Okay? Don't worry. You'll get to do 3 more on the next page. All right, flip over. I have another change for you. It's on this equation right here. Again, this is just to make things look pretty. Y equals 7 minus x. Change the 7 to a 9. 9 minus 3x. Okay? I want you to do this one. And then we're going to go back to the table and graph, which should be easier. But we need to go through the algebra for these guys. And then you are going to graph this one. Okay? Ready, set, go. So we all know where we are.
All right, good slow.
We're finishing up the exit ticket.
Delta.
Finishing up the exit ticket on formative. When you're done with that, you're to work on the 3.2 Delta math. Okay? Right here, 3.2. You probably are going to be at around 66%, but don't hold me to that.